Imagine if you could read a little bit of French every night before going to bed and wake up the next morning being bilingual.
Last night I had a dream I was French, et maintenant je suis bilingue.
But things are not quite like this, right?
Je m'appelle Taylor.
Each one of us has a different way of learning languages, and something that works for you might not work for someone else. But as a native French teacher, I can help you with practical tips that I have seen my students using and that have worked for them. So in today's video, we're gonna see how you can effectively start learning French and stay motivated until you're able to speak and understand correctly French. And make sure to stay until the end of this video, because today I have a special announcement to make and you don't want to miss this information if what you want is to speak better French.
Palaf, learn French the fun way.
Hi everyone, if you don't know me yet, I'm Lily and this is my channel Palaf, where I teach you French pronunciation to help you speak and understand real French. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to get notified each time I release a new video on that topic every single Sunday. Alright, so here comes my tips to help you start learning French at home and stay motivated. Tip number 1. Start with a topic that you like or are passionate about. Of course, you're not going to escape the grammar and conjugation and all those rules that make French so famous. But what if you could learn all those things while studying a topic that you actually like? The benefits of that is you create the right environment for your brain to remember the information. When you associate French with emotions, that's when you start to remember it. So think about what that topic could be. And if you want, leave a comment below to share it with us. Tip number 2. Research valuable content on that topic. We live in an incredible time. We have so much information available. Use it to find the proper resources that will help you enjoy the learning process. Books, songs, poems,
articles, podcasts, movies, TV shows, interviews.
There's so many different resources that you can find and use. So my piece of advice is to organize all this content in different folders so that you can access them easily and switch to the different format anytime you want. Tip number 3. Start with the basics. Analyze the structure of the sentences. If your mother tongue is the Latin language, you probably won't have any issue with the structure of French sentences. But let's say, for example, that you're Chinese or any other language where the structure is totally different. Then you're gonna have to get used to how we form sentences, which generally is subject, verb, and object. Also, one of the French particularities is that we have feminine and masculine nouns, so that is also something you want to look at. Another thing that I would recommend when you start with the basics is to study and learn the most common verbs. Because you don't have to start with a list of 50 or 100 verbs. You should start with the verbs that are mostly used in French, such as those verbs: être, avoir, faire, aller, dire, demander, vouloir, pouvoir. And then learn how to make easy sentences with them.
Je suis Canadien. J'ai 26 ans. Je veux de l'eau, s'il vous plaît. Merci.
And then you should learn some vocabulary. But remember that you chose a topic that you really like, so normally you should be excited about learning all those new vocabulary about that topic, which will make the remembering process much easier. Depending on what works more for you, you can write them down or do the memory card thing. And then when thinking about the basics, don't forget the pronunciation. It's really important to get it right from the start. It's totally okay if you don't understand everything at first. It's actually very likely that you won't get it right away, but that's totally fine. What you want to do is try to train your brain from the beginning to hear some French, even though you don't understand it, so that you would get used to the different sounds that we make. Then I would also recommend you try to repeat what you hear, even though you have no idea what it means. Try just to repeat the sounds that you think you're hearing. Sing with French singers. Repeat a sentence from a movie you like. And if you're not afraid of hearing the sound of your own voice, I would definitely recommend you record yourself. Tip number 4. Mix the learning techniques to avoid boredom. When you start to learn a new language, there are things that seem easier to do, such as reading or responding to quizzes on Duolingo. But even though it's a good thing to see that you're progressing quickly, you don't want to leave aside all the other aspects of the language. That's why you should try to mix the different techniques, which are reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So let's say you want to spend only 15 minutes a day learning French. Then I would recommend you do each day a different activity. One day it would be reading, another day writing, another day speaking, another day listening, and then you can repeat it. That way you will make learning French a daily habit with mixing all the different techniques, which will help you master all the aspects of the language. Tip number 5 is to find out your weaknesses and focus on them. Like I mentioned before, don't only focus on the things that are easier for you to learn.
Honestly, French is not that hard. Duolingo even says I'm an intermediate.
Oh super, du coup tu veux qu'on parle en français?
Huh?
Let's say you're having a hard time understanding and speaking some French, then you should try to focus on those first. So many people have told me,
Pourquoi le français c'est si difficile?
Then I'd recommend you make speaking French a priority. And if you haven't already done it, subscribe to my channel to get more tips about French pronunciation. Team up with other people to stay motivated. Studying with other people definitely helps. It could be just one friend of yours or even a group of people. They could be learning French with you or another topic. That doesn't really matter. The goal here is to help you set up the right environment and the right mindset so that you stay motivated on the long term to keep progressing. And if you don't have any studying buddy right now, try out Facebook groups and ask if someone would be willing to study with you. From my own experience and also from what I've heard from my students, it really helps to have other people studying with you and to stay motivated together to keep progressing. Tip number 7, set up realistic goals and be consistent. If you'd prepare to run a marathon, you wouldn't just show up and hope to be the first one hitting that finish line, right? You would prepare and train a little bit every day. Same applies here. Do you know why you're learning French? Are you motivated? How much time can you dedicate every day to it? Every week? Every month? Let's say you do 15 minutes a day, which is pretty easy to organize actually. But when you add those 15 minutes every day, then at the end of the week, it's almost 2 hours you would be spending learning French, and at the end of the month it would be 8 hours. So 15 minutes is not a big commitment to start with, and it would be pretty easy for you to organize, and it will also help you to be consistent, to do it a little bit every day. So tell me, are you excited about learning French? Do you think you will apply today's tips to help you stay motivated?
Moi, j'essaie de prendre le français un petit peu tous les jours. Et toi?
And like I told you, I have a special announcement to make. I am offering a free video chat in French to help you practice your speaking skills. So if you're interested in having a free session with me, I invite you to leave a comment below in which you would tell me why you are learning French and that topic you're passionate about. And I will let you know in the comments who's gonna have this free session with me. Alright, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one.
Last night I had a dream I was a friend.